Hey everybody, Regina Andler here, and it is time for Coffee with Regina. And I have my friend Steve Neville here with me today. Hi, Steve.
Hey, how are you doing, Regina?
I am excellent. I am so happy to have you here today because this is going to be an awesome chat. This is going to be so cool. It's where everything's going these days, and you're like the king of this stuff. So before we get into chatting, let me just give everybody a little background about who you are. So Steve is the founder and creative thinker behind his company called MPower, and he brings over 30 years of sales and marketing expertise to help established coaches and consultants scale their businesses. Now, he's got this unique approach that combines deep understanding of service-based business challenges with innovative technology solutions to help with clients eliminate bottlenecks, automate repetitive tasks, and create scalable systems. How cool is that? His work enables coaches and consultants to focus on high-value activities while technology handles the rest. And that helps to drive sustainable growth and operational excellence. So today, the biggest thing, the buzz on the street is all about automation. But before automation, there's general everyday marketing. So I'm guessing you can't automate stuff if you don't actually have it set up first. So when you think about marketing and you're working with clients, where do you start? If somebody's starting out going, okay, I have marketing stuff and I kind of sort of post, I kind of sort of email, I kind of sort of do this. What do you tell them?
Oh, that's a very, very good question, especially when they kind of sort of do these different things. I guess you know those type of conversations are all kind of individual to the situation. Is really where are you at right now? How long have you been in business? Do you have any revenue coming in, or you haven't even started? You haven't closed any deals yet. You don't have any clients or customers yet. It really kind of depends where you're at. Typically, working with someone who's starting up a brand new business, it takes a lot to you need to really kind of discover what is that main offer that you're going to have, what's your upsell, your downsell, setting up your marketing and everything around that. But in the meantime, pumping out social media. I'm very, very big on prioritizing organic social because that's really the brand authority that you're going to be putting out there. You're going to be on sales calls. You're going to be talking with people. Some people might dislike you and sign up. Some people you're going to be like, well, who is this person? And they're going to search for you. And if they find your social media where you come off like an expert, then that's going to help you land more deals. So you can kind of get that engine rolling while you're kind of configuring your offers, what that's going to look like, building out your funnel, your landing pages, and some of that basic marketing automation behind the scenes.
Right. So when you think about that, that's where your branding comes in really important, because if you just go out there and say you're a new coach or a consultant, or maybe even, an established, maybe it's 5 years or less, and you're going, I just want more clients. I'm kind of floundering. I'm not quite there yet. And I have stuff and I have a couple clients, but I really want to start scaling. It's all about the consistency, and people need to see that you're consistent with you and your brand. And I see it all the time that people are all over the place. They don't have a brand. They don't have maybe you don't have to have a logo, but if you do have a logo, people start to recognize it the more they see it. So just a little bit, tell me a little bit about, why is branding so important?
Well, I mean, it's a million different reasons, but ultimately branding is what people are going to remember you by. It is your reputation. It's how you're known at the end of the day. And it's how you position yourself in front of people. So even if you may be nervous and you might be insecure, we all are at different times, but you don't want to position yourself as an insecure business owner. You want to position yourself as the expert. So that is where the branding really comes in. People see you for who you want to project yourself to be for your business. Then you also have, like you mentioned, logo. So you have your branding, as in your brand voice, your brand guide, your color schemes. We go into a lot there. And that just kind of all matches the vibe of your business. And I guess that really some people trip over that or take a long time figuring that out. But it really comes down to, what do you represent? What are your values? And what are your values for this business? Because you're going to have your personal values, that all of your personal values will flow into your business, but some are, because if your business shouldn't be totally different than your personal values, because then it's not going to be aligned with you. So like, what are the values for your business, and narrowing that down to 3, max 4 core values that your business represents. From that, you can just use AI nowadays to get the color patterns that match those values, and then from that, see what you like and what looks good. A lot of times, you want a little bit what looks good for you, but it's not so much what looks good for you; it's what's coming off to other people. Different colors give off different energy. But again, to me, it all just goes down to, what are your values? Values first, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's actually funny that you say that, because when people think of branding, that's what they think of. They think of colors, they think of logos. They don't think about a voice. They don't think about a brand voice. They don't think about the values. They don't think about, I guess we'll call it the soft stuff and the hard stuff. So your logo, your colors, those are like the solid hard stuff, where it's like your voice and the values and all that is kind of like the soft stuff on the other side, but they're just as important, if not more important, to your brand.
Definitely. It's the foundation. To me, I would call that like step 0 of building that, because how are you going to have that logo designed? Whether you're having a human develop it, or you're going to try to just do a prompt in the AI to create an image for it to get started, either which way, what are you telling, what's the prompt, or what's the instruction to the editors? That is going to be based off of the values of your company, who you are, your past experiences, your expertise, what you're bringing in, what you're trying to do, what your mission is. And again, all of that kind of goes back to, what are the values of your company?
Yeah, that is so true. And when you think of that, it's all the values, the voice, all of that stuff. You said step 0. I like step 0 instead of step 1. It really is step 0. And a lot of people who are already in business, been in business for years, don't even have that down. So they kind of like skipped over step 0, went right to step 1, 2, 3, and started their business. And now they're at a point in their business where they're going, I don't understand why people aren't coming to me for what I do. I'm really good at what I do, but I'm not getting new clients. What's up with that? And it could be that it has nothing to do with what you're doing. It's the brand. It's the colors, the logo being recognized. And then it's your voice and how you do things and those values, so that people start really resonating with you.
Yep, that's exactly it. Many people do skip over it. Heck, I even skipped over it. I'm not even going to lie. I'm one of those people. I went running and gunning, didn't know what I was doing back in the day. And then all of a sudden I grew by referral. So that's I was talking with you off air before this about how we're doing a whole rebrand and a whole new thing. Like, you'll get to a point, no matter how good you are, that you won't be able to scale past unless you have that step 0 down solid, and then you're taking the necessary actions from that. Like that, it just you have to do that. No matter what, you always reach a certain point, a scale that you just won't be able to go beyond. And you'll be doing exactly what you mentioned. What's going on? Why can't I go further? What's happening? I go here, but then I come back, and it's just like this yo-yo.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's kind of like you go up, you go down, and you're like, I just can't break through that ceiling. And it doesn't matter where you are in business. You said, you're rebranding. There's some people who haven't even branded. They're in business, but they haven't even branded. Like you said, you started out, I did the same thing. I think it's a thing that most of us do because we're so passionate about what we do. We jump in feet first. We start doing what we do best. We bring on some clients. We get all excited. And then all of a sudden it's like, there's nothing. And it's like, wait, what happened? And it was like, okay, well, we missed step 0. We didn't do that. And that's like what's building the pipeline. That's what's bringing the people to you and, creating that know, like, and trust. The know of, oh my gosh, I know that's Steve. I know his logo. I know his colors. I don't have to see his face. I don't have to see his words. I just know that whatever that post is, that's him, because I know that. That branding makes a big difference on how people recognize you.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you there, Regina. Like it's everything. You know, I mean, all you get to do is look at any famous person, like a business person, like Alex Ramosi just had a huge, big book launch. If you don't know who Alex is by now, like I think everybody in the world in business knows Alex Ramosi now, or you heard the name and you at least heard of it. You might not know who the guy is. It's crazy. Like if you just look at that brand, like everything there, it goes. His wife has the same thing. You look at Gary V. It's so many people out there. Everything is from the brand, and you start in the beginning. It's easy because like it's easy to skip step zero because we're hustling. I know when I got into it, it was like, yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. Kind of knew what I was doing. Kind of didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I had to make $1, and I had to make $1 quick, and I need to make a whole bunch of dollars. So like when you're working on step zero, it's kind of like, oh, is this making me money right now? Because it's more of the long-term investment. But it's that seed that you need to take the time to plant so that you can reap the benefits down the road. You know, that's how I kind of look at it. It's something that it's not going to feed you right this second, but it's going to feed you tomorrow. And if you really want your business to succeed, that's what you have to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you're at a spot where you're one of those people that maybe you have something, maybe you don't have something. So maybe you have something, it's not quite all there. You know, step zero is kind of like half done. It's not full done. You have a logo, you have some colors, but maybe you haven't got that voice done. You haven't really thought about, you know, the values behind what you do and incorporating that into the brand. So if you're working with somebody, where do you start? Where is the first step for step zero?
Very good question. Again, that's going to vary individual to individual, but mostly it's going to be, okay, well, what are your values? Like I need to see 3 or 4 values for your business, no matter what. It's just getting that. From that, then it is just, you know, a series of different questions that has to pull through your expertise, different things that you've been through, you know, opening up, being a little vulnerable as well, because part of your what makes you relatable is not just your wins, but also your failures. I think the struggles that you've been through, that you had to go through to get to where you are. So being able to get that journey written out and expressed and voiced out is all part of that. So it's really, it just depends who that person is, but all those are like different elements. I know I'm kind of all over the place with that, but kind of getting all that information and pulling it together will help really develop that brand voice. And nowadays with AI, it makes it so much easier to harness that. Once you can pull, you know, get a series of questions that you can go through and answer, pull that information in, and then you can use that going forward for your content.
Yeah, you know, I like that because you're kind of wavering on the, I don't know, I really can't answer that because it's dependent on the person. Everybody's unique,
Yeah.
which is the whole unicorn factor here that I've got. So, you know, so I love that. It's like, yeah, it's like, here's where you need to go, but I can't tell you exactly. I can't give you an exact step for you right now, whoever you are watching this, because your business is unique to you. I need to know what your unique situation is before we can figure out where is that starting point, which is great. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't do cookie cutter approaches. I'm always like, who are you? What's your situation? Okay, this is the correct path to get you going. It's like that one mountain we're all trying to climb, but there's a million different pathways up. And you know, if you're not in a wheelchair, you don't want to go the path that you need to rock climb. You know, like.
I love that, and I love that analogy because it is so true. And like you said, it's that's the whole thing with me. This is why we get along so well, and I love it every time we get up together in conferences and everything else that I see you, because we're on the same page with the, you know, we're not doing the cookie cutter. It's everybody's situation is unique, and you need to take the time to actually figure out what works best for you, because your business isn't going to be successful if you set it up the way it's right for somebody else. You need to set it up the way it's right for you and what you're doing in order for you to be successful on your side.
Exactly.
So now once you have this, you start going through the stuff and you have some brand stuff set up. Then you have to figure out, okay, now what do I do with this? So then there's like some marketing strategy and some systems and stuff that needs to be put in place. Where do you kind of, in the Reader's Digest version, I just totally dated myself there by saying that, but the short version, we'll just say the short version of where do you start? You've got this stuff and you're like, okay, now I need to start getting out there and being consistent. Where do you start?
Well, again, based on the individual, their business, and the situation, the money they have available, and everything to that degree. Again, number one is that organic content. Organic content just takes your time to record some stuff and getting it out there. Depending how much money you have starting out, paying for professional editors can make it even better and push it further. But using some AI stuff on the cheap, or not even editing it, just do raw video content, getting it out there, period. That's just number one. When it goes to marketing for like advertising side of marketing, typically we're going some ads, meta ads, YouTube ads. I mean, meta ads are where most people tend to start for businesses. It's a little bit cheaper than YouTube, cheaper than TikTok, LinkedIn, or straight to Google PPC. But again, it really kind of depends on the business. Sometimes going right to Google might be better. So again, sorry not to give that direct, perfect answer, but it depends on that business and what their financial situation is, what type of business it is. But normally it's running ads of some sort.
You actually just gave me the answer I was looking for. Again, it comes down to, it's unique to your business. It could be ads, it could be organic marketing, it could be whatever. It depends on what you do. It depends on who your target audience is. It depends on a lot of factors. So now you start getting this stuff in place, and now you need to start getting consistent. And once you start getting consistent, you kind of have this routine, the system in place to do stuff on a regular basis. Maybe it's your regular posting that you do every day, or maybe you write a blog once a week, or write a LinkedIn article once a week, or go live once a week, or you have some kind of a plan in place.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you're sending out an email.
Mm-hmm.
So now you create all the stuff, and then you go, oh my gosh, that is so much work. Then what do you do?
Yeah,
I know
that's where that word we use at the beginning, automations kick in. And typically our automations go on they diverge in two different paths. One is business operations, and then one is more of your marketing, sales, automations. So we can go, that's where you want to automate all that repetitive stuff. And that's the beautiful thing with the technology now. You can, before, like I've been in automations for, I don't know, over a decade. Back in the day, maybe people have heard of Zapier. Zapier is very linear, right? Okay, this meeting happens, you send this email, this link goes over here, whatever it might be. It's very step one, step two, step three linear. Nowadays with AI, it's not just if that, then this. It's also thinking on its own. It can loop, it can merge, it can self-correct. You can take something that in Zapier would be like 50 different apps combined into a big thing that'll cost you like $500 a month. Instead, for like $20 a month, you can sit here and do like 5,000 apps all in one big automation that can kind of do everything in the world for you. So the modern day, the power we have to automate is just crazy. And that's where we can go, either which side you want to go down, the automating of your operations. So you're going through and give me a common thing. I'm blanking right now.
For operations, I mean, like bookkeeping or something like that, and general automations or
yeah,
general.
Just like you're talking about, just any operating inside of a business, you have the operations that you're kind of doing repetitively on the daily tasks.
So your sales and marketing, you're reaching out to clients.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You have that. Think of this, executive assistant. Many people will sit here and say, hey, I got my business going. I want to hire this VA to sit here and check my email, verify that people are going to come to meetings, respond to certain things, kind of do these different tasks for me, right? I can just delegate down so that I can focus my time over here. Well, instead of hiring that VA, and the VAs are still great, EA is still coming, but you can have you can automate that whole process. You can use something like WhatsApp or Telegram that you can sit here and do a voice note in and chat to. And then that can go through and send an email. It can schedule a meeting in your calendar. It can do anything that a VA would do for you. You can have that actually automate, do that whole process. You can have it actually control your whole inbox of your email and create folders and sort different folders of the stuff that you need to personally pay attention to, respond to others, unsubscribe you from junk mail, spam. There's a million things you can do there on the marketing side. It can take we're doing this stream right here. It can literally sit here when this stream is over, transcribe the whole thing, turn it into a blog post. Look at that. Go through it and examine it for different good points of the conversation. Turn that into graphics, carousel images for social media, quote posts. Right? You can sit here and you can send it to generate an image, images of you, images of other people, depending with a quote that came from here. You can just repurpose content, all automated automatically.
So when I think about that and you're going through all that, it sounds fabulous because it's like, wow, you could take all of that stuff off my plate. That would be so awesome because then I can focus on my core genius and do what I do best, work with my clients, right? So when you think about that, though, it also becomes a little bit overwhelming because you're like, and how do I set all this stuff up? I don't even know where to start to set that kind of stuff up. And I don't want to go learn all these different platforms and do this kind of stuff. And I know this is what you guys do.
Definitely. That's what we do. So, I mean, you can hire someone like us where we can go through and we can take that off your plate. Or if it's not in your budget, because sometimes you have some money that you can hire some people and you can do some things. Some people are in a situation where they're bootstrapping and they don't. The good thing there is we have something I've been talking about a lot recently is MCP tools. Using Claude, if you're familiar with Claude AI, with their Claude desktop, you can plug in, it's called MCP, basically allows you to go right into a program like N8N, which is great for building the automations. And you can talk to Claude and Claude will build your automation for you. It still will require you to go in and troubleshoot and you have to do some things, but it'll move you light years faster. So that's one, if you're bootstrapping, you can use that, you can use the MCP tools with Claude. And besides like N8N, you can also do it with Make, Zapier, and other tools. Like you can go right in, if you're using like Go High Level as your CRM and like your marketing CRM tool, which is very, very popular for small business owners and agencies, there you can do an MCP to Claude. So you can really talk to Claude and be like, hey, find this contact and just schedule this meeting, or what's going here, what's the notes on that call, the prep for a new meeting coming up. So a lot of ways you can use those MCP tools there to help you out.
So I'm hearing that there's ways for you to go in and make it streamlined. We were talking about streamlining things for instead of bouncing from tool to tool to tool to tool, the tools are basically all talking to each other and then giving you that end result of what you need, instead of you going, okay, I have to go over to this one for this to get the transcribe over here. And then I need to go over to this one to do this with it. And then I need to go over to this. But you don't need to do that. You can automate the entire process so that the tools talk to each other and then you get what you need. Is that correct?
Exactly. That's what ultimately automations are. Automations is getting, this tool here to talk to this tool over here, bring it over to this tool, talk to another tool, whatever it might be, whatever you need to accomplish your goal, and bring it all to wherever a central location for you. Or it could be putting it right into a Google spreadsheet, or I personally like Airtable. I think is fantastic. And then you could use something like Claude or ChatGPT to connect to that and then just get information, or look at it directly, look at the spreadsheet or whatever yourself.
Yeah, it's amazing the world we live in today with these automations, right?
To me, I think of the automations now is the equivalent of what the internet has done for humankind. Because before that, we could make phone calls and these long distance calls and stuff like that, but we couldn't truly interconnect and get to know people if you didn't really know them, if you didn't have their phone number or something like that. But once we got internet and you had like, what was it, like MySpace and then Facebook and all these different things, and now you're connecting. I think, to date myself, most of them I used to like. LiveJournal was one of my favorites back in the day. But Twitter, like, you're able to connect with people all over the world and be able to communicate. That's what automations are doing now. But instead of doing it it's doing it ultimately for you as a person, but it's a way for different tools and applications to have that same type of level of connection and just communicate and share their knowledge and information and resources with each other to ultimately empower you and your business.
So if you wanted to start automating your business, where do you actually start?
That's a very, very good question. One thing I would say, the ultimate goal of automating, there's so many different things you can. There's a million and one things you can automate. So like, where do you start? That is going to, what do you do in your business? Like you mentioned before, like that unicorn factor, right? Like, what is it that moves the needle? What can you do more of that moves the needle? Okay, identify that, because that's what you should focus on. Now, what are all the other tasks that you have that eat up your time, that take away from you doing what you need to move that needle? And then is going through all those tasks. And that's where we want to sit here and say, okay, which one of those is eating up the most time? And that's start with automating that one.
Yeah.
That's where I would generally go. It can then change a little bit by how complex or how easy some of those automations might need to be. So maybe one that takes up the most time might be a little more complex. Maybe we want to go after the third, fourth, and fifth because they're real quick to get done, and then come back to that one. So we can have some strategy involved, again, based on your individual situation. But the key point is identify what you do that moves that needle for your business. And that's where your time should be focused on. And then let's go through and automate everything else.
Yeah, that's what we call your core genius. Working your core genius and basically delegate everything else. Whether you're delegating it to a VA or delegating it to an automation, a machine, so it's the machine that's taking care of everything. That frees you up. So, there's so many solopreneurs out in the world that I hear it all the time. I'm overwhelmed. I'm burned out. I'm struggling. It's all the stuff. And when I ask them, well, why? There's so much stuff I have to do because I'm a solopreneur. I don't have the money to hire a VA right now. Well, you know what? It doesn't cost you anything to learn something really quick, to automate a couple small things. You can automate social media posting. So if you're saying I'm taking up 2 hours every day just to get my social posts out there because I'm trying to figure out what am I going to post. Then I got to create the post, and I got to go find an image for it, and then I have to actually post it, and then I have to respond to everybody who's commenting on it. You know what? There are tools. Some of them are free that will do all that for you, and so you can start like Steve was saying. It was like like you're saying there. It's you could start with the smaller stuff and start knocking some of that off. Then you start bringing some more income in because, of course, you're doing better in your business now because you started automating some of this stuff. And now you can say, you know what? I'm going to go hire Steve because I need to automate this, and I'm going to go put this, and this all together. So I want I want Claude to talk to N8N, to talk to this, to talk to that, to throw it all into Zapier or wherever you're putting it, so that it's all in one nice little package for me. So I just have to go to one place every day, and I know everything that's going on, and all of the repetitive tasks are just done.
And even things we're talking a lot about automations that are connecting different tools. Sometimes it's also just working with one tool but taking it to another level. Let's say your CRM. Your CRM, you have all your leads coming in, right? And you're trying to schedule appointments, talk to them, close some deals. But what if you had an automation that just monitored your whole entire pipeline or your different pipelines? and automatically knew by transcribing all your calls, your notes, everything that's happening, to sit here and say, okay, this the lead is starting to decay a little bit. Let's put this into a campaign to kind of generate that going. You can literally sit here and automate the different email campaigns, SMS campaigns that are going out, maybe a personalized video call that's being a video that you've recorded one time, and then AI kind of edits to send uniquely to each lead, gets sent out with a particular message. They re-engage some leads that are falling off, and then maybe give you a daily status report on your pipeline of what's going on, how many warm leads are turned into hot leads, which ones should you call immediately, maybe automatically book calls for you on your calendar. So things like that as well that you can automate, where you don't have to spend time like staring at your CRM, go through your pipeline, trying to look at things. Where should you focus your energy on? What leads? Because once you start generating, you got thousands of leads in your CRM. It can be a lot to maintain. It can get kind of crazy.
It can. It is crazy. And believe it or not, we're out of time. We could talk about this stuff forever.
We just got started.
Right? That's why I knew I wanted to spend more time on the automation piece. But, the other stuff, I mean, figuring out that branding stuff. And so, we talked about, figure out your branding stuff, make sure you have that down. Once you have that down, what is that strategy? Because if you don't have the strategy, if you don't have something in place, how can you automate it? Right? If you don't have some kind of system in place to get stuff done, you can't just go, hey, I want to automate, my inbox on my email. Okay, well, what do you want to automate? You have to have some kind of a strategy behind that and some system, so that then that's what you're putting into the automation. So there's the steps to it. So we led up from the branding to that strategy, the systems, into the automation. And I know Steve he's brilliant at this. I mean, absolutely brilliant. And, for everybody who knows me, I'm a business strategist and I go into the AI and stuff like that. I do not set up automations. This is the automation guy right here. And he's actually offering a free consult. There's like there's no sales, nothing. It's just a, hey, do you even have something that you want to automate? So tell us about what you got here.
Yeah, please click on the link. The schedule is a free 15-minute call. I got a couple of questions that you'll fill out. We can go ahead and do a consultation on anything that you might want to automate. What you're thinking, what should I automate? I don't know. We'll have a conversation over that, or marketing strategy, or branding, social media strategy, any of those things that you would like to talk about and get an idea for, what's the best direction to go for you. You can go ahead and click that link and schedule that. It'll have a couple questions for you. The more information you can put there, so that way I can have some context, the more value I can deliver to you in that 15 minutes. That way it'll be less of me asking you questions and me more of giving you that guideline and that path to follow.
Yeah, I love that. And by the way, that link is going to be underneath this video on all three platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We're streaming on right now. So I'll make sure that link is there. Take advantage of Steve's offer, because he really is brilliant. And it might be, I want to talk to Steve about automations, and he might, in 15 minutes or from filling out the form, go, you know what? We need to get your branding and systems done before you even think about automations. It's going to help him structure that 15 minutes to get the most out of it. And, it could change the entire trajectory of where you're going right now. Because if you're feeling stuck and you're not quite sure where to go, in 15 minutes, you can get completely unstuck and have a game plan. And that's amazing, right?
This is something this is normally like $100. I normally charge like $97 for these, but for your audience, we're doing that for free. I always like to bring some value and help people out.
I love that. Thank you so much. We could talk about this for hours. I know we can. So we are going to have to cut it because now we're overtime, but that's okay, because this has been hugely valuable, I know, for a lot of people out here in the audience. And thank you so much for joining me here today. And trust me, people, if you don't take him up on this offer here, I just think you're a little bit crazy, but that's just me. Thank you so much for being here with me today, Steve.
No problem. I'm honored to join your show, and thank you for your time. Hopefully this message has helped some your audience out there.
Yeah, it's helped me. It's answered a couple of my questions of automation. Again, I'm not an automating person. I leave that stuff to you. All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. And if you're catching us on the replay, remember, put in #replay underneath in the comments.
All right.
We'll see you next time on Coffee with Regina. Bye for now.